Man, this shows how hard it is to shed hunt in this swamp here. It's my dad's uncle's property where I found multiple different sheds this year. Literally back in early April, 2 videos ago, I found some on the other side of the trail, way on the, maybe a couple hundred yards that way, on the other bedding area. After I was doing some cutting today, I'm in here, just cut down this dead ash. There's a bunch of beds right by this cedar. Been cutting out some more dead ash, like the biggest trees in here, just dropping them for like immediate cover. They're all dead. All these smaller ones are half dead, half alive. Anyways, I just camped on a match set here, old, just literally cutting here. I've walked right by this cedar multiple times. I've hunted right over there out of my portable stand once this past season. So I've been through this area, but I can't not believe I never found these. So I literally just dropped this tree right here, and I literally just saw that one right there. And then behind that is the other side. There's one, and there's the other. You know, I don't really recognize that deer. I'll have to go flip through some pictures, but I think I maybe do. That's a pretty decent one. I'd say it's probably just a year old. I should probably grid this bedding area one last time here, because right up that way is where I found the biggest shed on this property off the oldest buck in a square mile. He winters on this area and the neighbors a little bit too. Oh man, that is awesome. I'm gonna get some pictures here and I'll pick those up. All right, here we go. Sucks that they're so chewed up. There's not that many squirrels in here, but dang. I honestly do not know which deer this is. Try to get a good look at him here. Like, deer bed right here too. There's some deer hair. So they're just bedding everywhere in here. When this is all froze over, there's beds even on the ice. Looks something like that. I honestly don't know. This is probably maybe even 2 years they've been sitting here. They're pretty well deteriorated. Yeah, I'd say that's probably been sitting here for 2 years. That's pretty chalky at the end of the beam there. Base is a little bit more solid. Like right here, it looks like it's only a year old, but out here, it's like really chalky looking. Huh. Anyways, I obviously missed those this year and the year before, and maybe even the year before that too. I don't think I walked right through here, but I was, you know, over there a little bit, probably up and over there a little bit. This is only like a 15, maybe 20 acre bedding area, and it's just hard to cover it because literally they could drop anywhere in here. There's really not any deer trails because they can just meander through here anywhere they want to go. But yeah, I cannot believe that just happened. Sweet. Okay, I just shut off the camera and I think I know which deer this is. A big shed I just said I found up that way a little bit off the oldest deer in a square mile. This is him 2 years ago. I recognized him because of that little G4 there and the big brows, the gnarly beating. The base looks similar. This is the first year I started getting pictures of this buck. And then the next year, I found one side up on the neighbor's grassy hill. And then this year I found the other side literally maybe 100 yards that way in this marsh. Like I was saying, he usually winters around here. And this is the year that me and my cousin Cole, we found 17 sheds total. So 18, 19, 2 more right here. This is the year that the farmer, it was that really wet year, the farmer couldn't get out the big cornfield. And we had like an endless food source. There was like 80 acres of standing corn on the property. And that was why we did so good that year. And here would have been 2 more fresh sheds from that year. I didn't really have a whole lot of pictures of him that year. He just kind of showed up December and stuck through the winter. And then the next year I started getting more pictures of him you know, like in October and November. But man, this is him. So now I have 4 sheds off this buck. His match set, probably when he's a 3-year-old here. This is a little bit too big to be a 2-year-old, I believe, considering he's not really that big of a buck now, even as a mature buck. He's kind of a smaller genetic buck, but he's old. So this would be him at 3. I found one at 4, and I found last year's one from last year when he was 5, so that would make him 6 years old this year. I'm pretty confident he is the oldest buck in a square mile. There was another really big 8 that was actually bigger than him, taller, and he was like a year younger, and he got shot. He disappeared after gun season this year. But this is that buck. 3 years in a row, he dropped sheds in this bedding area or just outside of it a little bit. So I think his other side could be in here, because I had a picture of him on one of my cameras up that way towards one of the smaller fields, like the 17th of January or something. It was him, and then like it was, I don't even know anymore. I think it was like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. And then, no, that's what it was. It was 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, a big shedded buck came by the camera again the next morning at 2 o'clock, just like a couple hours later. And that could have been him. Could have been a different shed buck, but it was definitely a big buck, just judging by the body and the head. And that's really close to where I found that shed. I just never happened to find the other side. So it's probably, there's a good chance it's laying in here somewhere. So I should walk just a little bit, maybe do a little bit more cutting. And I got permission to cross the road on the other property. I haven't even walked that yet, but that's not as nearly as good of a winter bedding parcel as this is over here. So those are probably a completely different deer over there on that side of the road as what I had pictures of down in here. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. So these are 2-year-old sheds. They've been sitting out here for 2 years. The beating matches, base matches, everything. I'll do like a little video at the end at home to show you all the comparison of these 4 sheds, but this is definitely that buck. Sweet. Unreal. Just came across another old one. This one's small, but it's frustrating missing these sheds. This is like, I cannot believe this. So literally right out there is like a heavy trail, travel corridor. And I've walked that multiple times. There's like heavy trails right there. See this cluster of aspen? I was literally I walked right through the center of that multiple different times. This is just like a super thick spot, hard to get in here into. It was a ton of deer bed with a ton of hair right there, and a deer bed right here. And look at that, an old shed. Not much left of it, but wow. Honest to God, this is probably 2 years old too. Here's the other 2 I just found. Look at, they look pretty similar in age-wise, like weathered down from the elements. It's probably again from that year with all the corn. Just a really tall, probably 1.5 years. Wow. Man, this is just goes to show you have to, wow, look how chewed up that is. But as I was gonna say, this just really shows that you have to like get out of your routine when you shed hunt the same property year after year after year. You have to get into like these little tiny like 10 by 10 yard areas or 20 by 20 yard circle that I haven't really stepped foot into in a couple years. Otherwise I would have found that shed. Same thing with those 2. I probably never really was within, you know, that good of sight. Obviously it's an overcast day today. It's really helping. We had a bunch of rain yesterday, but you got to get into these little pockets that you don't normally walk into, because there could be sheds laying in here, and there's obviously deer beds, and there's deer laying in here. So wow, that's unbelievable. I did not expect to find 3 sheds today. I'm going to keep doing a little bit of walking around in here. Literally 20 minutes ago I found those 2. This is crazy. May 1st today, I'm still shed hunting. Who figured? Well, it's been a little bit. I'm not on my dad's uncle's property. I'm across the road now on this other big piece that I know the guy that has permission to hunt all this, and he lets me shed hunt in here. This side over here is not quite as good. There's not as much winter habitat. There's just broken up little pieces of woods here and there. Not like a giant core area, but anyways, I just camped on a really chewed up shed, but it looks pretty decent. Wasn't sure if I was gonna find one in here or not. I was getting close to the end of the day here. Oh my God, that is fresh. Are you kidding me? I think it's, oh no, it does have some green on there, but the top there, that's really in the ground too. Wow. Oh my goodness. You serious? This is him. That's a huge surprise. The buck, okay, the match set I found earlier in the video, earlier today, this is the same buck. I found his, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Just trying to take in the moment here. I didn't even think this buck was coming from this side of the road. I thought he was coming from the complete opposite direction. God darn it. So destroyed. But anyways, it's cool to finally find this shed. So literally, the two sheds I found earlier, the match set, that was the year before this. And I have the other side from this year, which I just found. I have that side. I found that side fresh, way over that way, literally almost a mile away now at this point. And then this year, I found one side fresh too. Like I said, this is the oldest buck in the whole area. He's gonna be 6 years old this year. This would have been his 4-year-old rack. And I have the other side at home. The other side, this is the side he busted off his brow tine. The other side, he didn't bust off his brow tine. And he had a point right here too. You can see he just barely has the same little G4 out there. That is crazy. I cannot believe I found his other side way over here. It was really pushed into the ground, as you can tell, so it probably didn't fall right there. Coyotes and squirrels and who knows what's been moving this thing around somewhere. Probably fell somewhere down in here. That is crazy. I didn't come in here. I haven't come over to this side of the road for 2 years now. Should have came in here last year. I could have found this fresh, possibly. Well, now that I found this, I got some energy back. Maybe I'll walk another hour out here. I was getting close to turning around and getting home a little early, but hey, I'll take that. I found 3 sheds off the same buck today, and none of them were fresh. They're all old ones from years past. And I have 2. So literally, I have 5 sheds off this buck. I got, out of the last 3 years, I have 5 out of the 6 sheds. That is unbelievable. That's like the best I've ever done in consecutive years. And it's basically all because of today. The 3 I found today off of him. That's unbelievable. Crazy. Okay, so here is a really good comparison of that big buck that I found, those 2 and that one in this video. That was the one from this year fresh, and this was the one from last year fresh. And this is probably the only deer that I have 5 out of the 6, 5 sheds off of. I know I have found consecutive years, one side off of a buck, and even consecutive sets, but never close to 3 consecutive sets like this. I doubt I'll find the other side of that one. If I do, it'll probably be next year. I'm pretty much done shed hunting now, but this was 2 years ago when he was probably a 3-year-old. He could be just a big 2-year-old that never really progressed into much more. That would make him 3 here and 4, minimum 4 now, but I think he's 3 here, just judging by, there's a ton of little spikes and forks in the area. He could be a big 2-year-old, but it's hard to say. Either 2 or 3 here, 3 or 4 here, and then 5 or 6 now. And these 2 are this is definitely him. I'll put up pictures out of all these years, side by side, this is definitely him. Look at the base. Identical circle, I should say. And this is the year that I got lucky and found his good side. He broke off his big brow tine. It looks like it's chewed off here, but he actually broke it off. And definitely him. Here, I'll go like this too, since I got 3. His base looks a little different from this year, but it's identical between these two, just like this one. And you can see he was starting this little 5th point out here. And he's actually starting to lose it now. So this is basically as big as he'll get. Usually 5 or 6 is their peak. Some deer might peak later than that, 7 or 8, but it just seems like this is all the bigger he's gonna get. And I should mention, on the other side, he does have this 5th point. It's about like maybe this long, an inch or 2. And you can see even from years ago, 2 years prior, the 5th point was more prominent on his right side as what it was on his left side. You can see it just kind of flared up right there. Just flared up right there. 100% the same deer. And if it wasn't for that weekend shed hunt, I would have only had 2 sheds off of him. But since I found 3 old sheds off that buck in the same day, now I have 5 out of the 6. This is probably the worst condition shed. And it's weird because, you know, these ones are a year older. This one's more chewed on, almost chewed in half right here. But that set was almost a mile apart. So this one could be anywhere the other side to this one, but just really excited to see what he'll turn into this year. I'm sure he'll be around again unless he gets somehow hit on the road or killed or dies somehow over the summer. But anyways, thanks for watching the video, guys. Yeah, the conclusion video will be coming soon. I got to get that out. I know it's May here and kind of moving on to planting season, but I got to get out the last 2 shed videos here, and we'll be on to food plot season.